So, I finally got RNG to bless me with the steady hand roll of my dreams. It was the final Iron Banner weekend season of the Splicer when I got this gun, and it sat in my vault for a few weeks. I was afraid to use it, on the extreme off chance that this gun wouldn't live up to how I remembered it. But let me tell you, after one game, I knew there was nothing to fear. This gun slaps just as hard as I remember, with only a tiny bit more recoil. Also, before we go any further, if you don't really know what bow swapping is, I suggest watching my previous video So You Want to Bow Swap, but it is a bit of a long one, half an hour. You aren't missing any context by not watching that video, but I'm going to try not to cover the same ground that I did in that video too much. Now for the million-dollar question. What's better, Lemon 120 or Precision Arianas? This question can have a couple of different answers depending on who is asking. So, say you're a new player that has the required DLC and no guns in your vault. What's best? Precision Aries, every day of the week, month, and year. Arianas and Lemon are both kiosk guns, so they can be taken out of the farmable equation. Fighting Winds, the best kinetic precision bow in my opinion, actually has a deterministic farm path. Step 1, have access to the Empire hunts. Step 2, buy an Empire hunt. Step 3, kill the fallen. Step 4, get your bow. Now for the 120s, you don't have anywhere near as clear a path. To get the best kinetic 120, the steady hand, you have to play Iron Banner and pray. For the true prophecy, you either have Zur or the Gunsmith. Both of these weapons are entirely RNG dependent, so you might get lucky, or you might not. So, say you have both exotics and an average Biting Winds and an average kinetic 120. For this case, I'd still give it to Precision Aries simply due to how powerful I think Quick Access Sling is. For the cost of the mod slot on the bow, you can get pretty good swap speeds even without handling perks. What about Lem with an average steady hand though? It's not that good, and I would not really recommend using it. At that point, you're going to have to use Lucky Pants if you want to have your steady hand ready ever, so the cost just isn't comparable. This is all true unless you don't have near 100% accuracy with Arianas, in which case Lemon 120 is significantly more forgiving to people that miss even a little bit. So if you have perfect aim, Precision Aries is the way to go for average builds, but Lemon 120 is probably the better learner build if you only have average guns. Alright, so now for the real question. If you have a God-rolled steady hand and a God-rolled Biting Winds, and both exotics, what's the best build? Well, to answer that question fully, I'll need to talk about each of these builds specifically. Let's start with Lemon 120. Lemon is, to me, the best bow in the game. It feels great, hits for a ton, and temporarily impedes the recovery of the enemies you shoot. It also discourages team shotting if you hit your crits. Now this is just a pet theory I have, but I also think it's the most draining and annoying gun to fight against, and not for any of the reasons I've already listed. When you get hit by Lem, your entire screen gets covered in a purple haze for like 2 seconds. And I don't think people like having their screens messed with. Now you pair Lemon with a speedy 120, this build kills so fast at an incredible range. Not only does this build do well at range, but due to the fact that neither of these weapons boasts a telescopic scope, this build even works well at closer ranges. Plus, now that we have infinite primary ammo, this build can run forever. There are no ammo pickups, no shortages, no limit. You can go as far as you can play with this setup. This build is fantastic, and if you have a God-rolled steady hand, or to a lesser extent that Zerg True Prophecy, which, as a quick aside, I will say the True Prophecy roll isn't as good as the steady hand roll, not just because you have to play an Arc subclass, but because it doesn't feel as responsive to me. But if you do have one of these two rolls, please give it a shot. This is very unironically my favorite loadout in the game. So, now for Precision Ares. This build has truly ridiculous range, like, it still surprises me every time I throw this loadout back on. I feel like the cap on my range isn't even damage drop-off, it's just that I miss if people are super far away. The stopping power within that range, where you can consistently hit shots, is immaculate. It is a bit more annoying to hit people when they're up close, but at that point you can just go for a bow shot to melee and hope that connects. The aiming requirement for this particular build places most of the emphasis on actually hitting your shots, but once they've hit, it rarely matters where they hit. However, the special ammo Ariana's takes is a double-edged sword. I cannot stress how important Hand Cannon Scavenger is to making this build usable. You have to pick up green boxes from time to time, or you will be left with nothing but a bow. Also, if you die, you are giving your enemies more special, which Lemon 120 never does. Due to how scarce the ammo is for Ariana's, your shots are that much more important. Messing with a 120 is par for the course, but messing with Ariana's is an honest setback. In 6s, the ammo economy isn't super limiting, but in 3s, you really are forced to make every shot count. So, which build is better? If you look at the title, or you know how much I've used Lemon 120, you might think I'm biased towards picking that build. And you'd be right. I set out collecting gameplay really thinking that I was going to say Lemon 120 is the objectively best hand cannon bow swap setup, but it isn't. If Lemon 120 is a 99 out of a 100, then Precision Ariana's is that 100. The range, consistency, and leniency of the aim required just elevate this build from super to truly special. So if it's not the best, why am I still so drawn to Lemon 120 over Precision Ariana's? Is it the familiarity I have with Lemon 120? Do I just like Lemon more than Biting Winds? Do I think that Precision Ariana's is sort of unfair in using Lemon 120 as a form of, however slight, holding back from being as mean as possible in the Crucible? The answers are yes, but I don't think it really matters. I think it's perfectly fine to just prefer using Lemon 120 due to nothing more than a personal idiosyncrasy. I like it because I like it. I'm fine losing a couple more games than I would absolutely sweating with Precision Ariana's so I can enjoy my time in the Crucible with the build I love using more. So, thanks for watching.